All right, in this video, I'm going to do an example of creating an amortization table and journal entries for a bond issued at a premium. In class, we covered a discount, so here I'll cover a premium just for symmetry. So Premium Products, Inc. issued $200,000 of 6% bonds on January 1st, 2020. The bonds pay interest on June 30th and December 1st of each year and mature on December 31st, 2022. So counting on our fingers, 2020, 2021, 2022, 3-year bonds. You'll notice I also made the cash payable at the end of the year. Here I'm not going to worry about doing the accrual of interest for the next period. We'll just go ahead and make the interest payment in December because I want to focus on the bond premium and amortization and not on the interest payable. So the coupon rate is given at 6%, or the stated rate. The face amount is $200,000. The market rate of interest was 4% when the bonds were issued. So the first thing we need to do is price these $200,000 6% bonds that pay interest semi-annually, discounted at a market rate of 4%. So what we can do is we can drop all these factors into our amortization table, and my spreadsheet will calculate the price for you automatically, but we'll go ahead and do it manually as well. So we've got $200,000 face amount. Since the market rate is 4%, but interest is paid semi-annually, we're going to cut this in half and do 2% for 6 periods. So we've got to find our amortization table. Present value of a single sum, 2% for 6 periods, and our present value discount factor is 0.88797. And so if we take our present value of the principal, $200,000 times 0.88797, present value of the principal is $177,594. Now take our interest payments. Our payments are going to be $200,000 times 6% divided by 2, or $200,000 times 3%, and that becomes a $6,000 payment. We're going to take our present value of an annuity table. Again, the market rate is 4%. Cut that in half to make it 2%. We have a 3-year bond. Multiply that by 2 to make 6 periods. And our present value factor is 5.60143. So we take our $6,000 payments times 5.60143. The present value of our interest payments by themselves is 33,609. Add that together, you get 211,203. So it's exactly the same process we used to price a bond that was at a discount. The process you go through doesn't matter whether you're at a premium or discount. In fact, it determines whether you're at a premium or a discount. So the present value of all of these streams of cash flows, present value today, is 211,203. So that's going to be our issue price. And our journal entry on 1/1/20 is going to be a debit to cash of 211,203. We're going to have a credit to bonds payable of 200,000 because that's going to be at face. And then we are also going to have a credit, credit to premium on bonds payable, and that's going to be for the difference, or 11,203. And so that's how we're going to set up our premium T account. And I'll go ahead here and do a premium T account. All right, and so I'll put 11,203 in the premium T account. Now we're going to do our amortization table. Our amortization table is going to work the same way they always work. So we're going to put all of our bond payment dates in our rows: 12/31/20, 6/30/21, 12/31/21, 6/30/22, 12/31/22. All right, so we've got all our rows set up. Our payment is going to be the face amount. You want to put your dollar signs in front of there, so make sure it's an absolute reference. So put $C, $3, so when you click and drag, it doesn't change the value up here. If you hit F4, I don't know if you know this trick, but if you hit F4, it'll toggle through all your different dollar sign amounts. So C3, our face amount, times our coupon rate, divided by periods per year. And so our payments are $6,000, and you can go ahead and click and drag those because those are going to be the same. What you want to do is then calculate your interest expense, since that's going to be your prior carrying value. And you don't want to put your dollar signs there because you always want to reference the cell up 1 and over 2. So that's going to be a relative reference. You're going to multiply that by the market rate, and that's an absolute reference, so you want your dollar signs there. And then, of course, you're going to divide that by your periods per year. So what this says is the interest rate, the 4% interest rate on 211,203 for 6 months gives me an interest of 42.24. And the difference between those two is an amortization amount of 1776. Now again, my spreadsheet is set up to automatically get the pluses and minuses and the positives and negatives correct. But don't worry about positives and negatives. We want to think debits and credits. All right. And so once we have each row set up, we can just click and drag. The other thing that we want to be able to do is have a check figure for what our unamortized premium or discount ought to be. So we can take our face value and we can subtract from that or take our carrying value, subtract from that our face value. And we can drag that guy down, and then we can click and drag our whole row down, and everything will fill in. Now, the danger with clicking and dragging is, again, you're not paying attention to the math that Excel is doing. So what we want to do is recognize that every period, this is the prior carrying value times the yield or the market rate divided by 2, and that's this calculation. So there's where we are. You'll notice we have a premium. We have more in our carrying value than the face value of the bond. And just like we do with a discount, when you have a discount, you want the discount to amortize away so the carrying value moves up to the face value. With a premium, it works the opposite. We have an $11,000 premium that we're making go away, and so at the end of the bond's life, again, all we have left is the face value of the bond. All of this amortization brings the carrying value down to the face value. Okay, so we already have our first journal entry. Let's do our first bond payment journal entry. So 6/30/20, we're going to make our first journal entry. So what are we going to do? We're going to debit interest expense. And how much interest expense are we recording in the first period? We're recording $42.24. We're also going to have a credit to cash. We are paying cash. We're making a $6,000 interest payment. What do we have? Notice we need a debit to make our journal entry balance. So if we're going to figure out what that amount is, it's $17.76, and that's the amortization on the premium. So we're going to debit premium on bonds payable, and we're going to debit it for the $17.76, which brings our premium down to $94.27, which is the number there. All right, so our premium has come down. I should move this guy up. All right, so what does this mean? Remember why we have a premium. We have a premium because the market only needed to earn, or only demanded to earn, a 4% rate of interest, but the company, when they wrote up their paperwork, they were willing to pay 6%. So the actual rate of interest that the company is incurring is lower than the cash payments, and we see that the cash payments are $6,000. The interest expense is only 4% of 211, or 42.24, and so this premium is really a reduction in interest expense. Our cash payments are greater than the interest expense that we bear, and so that's why we see our interest expense is lower than the cash. All right, so that makes sense. That's what we're trying to achieve with our effective rate of interest, right? 4% of this beginning balance is our interest expense. And our cash payments are contractual. We have to make those. And so this premium reduces the interest expense. We're going to do the same thing, 12/31/2020. We're going to make the same kind of journal entry. We're going to debit interest expense for the next line item, 4189. We're going to credit cash for $6,000, and we're going to debit premium on bond payable for 1811, and we're going to strike another balance there and get 7616, which again we're $1 off here for rounding because I don't have my pennies in rounding. But this is the same kind of approach, and as we go down the bond's life, we're going to do the same journal entry every time. The interest expense gets a little bit lower because our carrying value goes down a little bit. Cash stays the same. Amortization gets a little bit lower. All right, so that's how a premium works. And again, when we get to the end of the bond's life, all we're going to have left after we make our last journal entry at December 31st, 2022, we're going to make an entry. It's going to bring our unamortized premium down to 0. And then the only thing we have left to make for a journal entry is just the credit to cash and the debits to bonds payable to write off the bond payable amount. So I hope that's helpful. Please let me know if you have any questions or comments on recording bonds at a premium.